All right, folks, hopefully, oh no, I didn't plug my microphone in. Hopefully you can see me and you're going to hear me a little bit better here in a moment. I have been having some technical difficulties. See the cables in my hand. I cannot see myself. I can only see what you can see in terms of the slideshow. Technical difficulties. It is what it is. I'm doing the best that I can today. Today is Thursday, November 13th. Happy birthday to me. And I'm in Massachusetts. I'm not at home. So that's why I'm working out of a mobile location with my mobile tools, and they're just not working for me today. But we can still talk about what's happening in the market. Interest rates actually have gone up a touch, and purchase activity has actually increased nationally, despite interest rates going up. So 6.24 is what they were as well. That's the average as of today. That is up 0.02 from a week ago and down 0.54 from a year ago. So better than we were last year, a little bit higher than our low point, but not a bad place to be. Low sixes is kind of where we're living these days. And in terms of economic news, the shutdown has come to an end. That is good news overall for the time being. And reports that are put out by government agencies are still going to be coming, but we don't yet have them in our hands. So that reduces the information that we have available for you. But economists estimate that prices have risen a touch for the month and 3% year over year. So we'll get that confirmed when we get the official reports from the official government agencies. And what we have been seeing, and this is nationally, is a lot of price cuts and a lot of listings coming off of the market. 42% of listings saw prices decreased, and a big increase in homes coming off the market. This is holiday season, right? It's November 13th. We're about to go into Thanksgiving and then the Christmas holiday. And so there tends to not be a ton of activity in the market. It's actually, I like to call it bargain hunting season for buyers right now. If you are a buyer and you want to be out there when there's not a lot of other buyers, it's a good time to be there. And 50-year mortgages, you might have heard that is has been floated as a policy change that would certainly impact the mortgage market, but there's a lot of hoops to get through and hurdles to jump before that may or may not become a thing. In the Mid-Atlantic region, which includes Virginia, D.C., Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Delaware, and New Jersey, price growth has eased a touch. The median list price was $399,900, below what we were at $400,000. So essentially flat. But down for the first time this year. As I've been saying here, is that generally prices have continued to stay strong and have generally been higher than they have been year over year. Compared to last year, the median list price is up 1.2%. So price growth is slowing, right? We're not seeing as large of growth numbers as we have seen in the past. Showings have increased 5.7% from last year, and that's for the third week in a row. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Third week in a row. The showings are higher than they were last year, and contracts are flat year over year compared to 2024. In our larger DC metro area, showings are up year over year, 9.3%. Every time when I do this in a public space, it's quiet until I get live, of course. Week over week, showings are up about 2%. And that's interesting. For this time of year, we would usually see less, but probably because inventory has increased. When there's more homes to see, that equals more showings. Purchase contracts are down year over year by 4.4% and down week over week, which is to be expected, by 8%. Time to contract up 3 days year over year and flat week over week. New listings up not that much, 7% year over year and 4.5% week over week. And price is still up year over year by 5.4%, but down week over week, to be expected this time of year, 3.3% down week over week. Active listings increased 35% year over year and basically flat week over week. Here in the larger DC area, this is not showing a lot of price decreases or canceled listings this particular week. Although anecdotally, I do feel like we are seeing a lot of that. So in our hyper-local market, which includes Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and Falls Church, where we do most of our business at Homes by Mason. This is the data we run for you manually. And you can see that new listings and new under contracts are similar to what they were last week, with actually a few more contracts than last week, and we are below the average. Normal for this time of year. Less activity for this time of year is normal. So here you can see that contracts were up a bit week over week, and listings were actually down week over week, which is it looks like for the third week in a row, listings are down week over week. Normal for this time of year. Less listings makes sense. Less people putting homes on the market. It's better when I'm working with sellers, in my opinion, to wait until next year to put your homes on the market if you don't need to be on the market now. And then the year over year comparison here, what I find interesting when I look at this data, the green is year over year change in contracts. And so for most of the year, we have had more contracts than the year before. Early in the year, we saw a couple of weeks where there was significantly less, but since, what is this, April? Since the end of April, most weeks we've had more contracts than the year before. So even though it feels like there's less buyer activity, in fact, again, I think related to the increase in inventory, we are still actually eating up some of that inventory. Inventory, yes, has been increasing, but there's still buyers out there. So the sky is not falling. I have been saying that all year. The sky is still not falling in real estate. And this is interesting. The demand to supply ratio this week was over 100%. As you've been seeing, if you've been watching most of last year, we've been over 100%, which means there were more contracts written last week than there were new listings last week. That's what that means. So this week we were at 107%. At the same week last year, 114%. So that could cause competitive situations for buyers. And this is the days on market. So we're up, I think we're like 32 days on market this week. So that's kind of where we've been for a while, is approximately 30 days from going on the market to going under contract, which is more than what we're used to. So a little bit of breathing room for buyers, and the interest rates have slowly come down. Those are your trends for today, November 13th. Thank you for watching. And if you ever do want to talk about what's happening in the market and how it impacts you, please call me 571-210-1866 or text me, or click the link below to get on my schedule. I love talking about this stuff for you all. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. I'll be back next week. Let me try to shut this down. All right, you're seeing my screen. There we go.